This is the portable sundial. It comes in 3 pieces. The first one is the base. And the reason why it's considered portable is because it has 3 magnets in the bottom. That means you can set it in water and it will automatically level itself and point itself in the correct orientation like a compass. You can see I wrote the cardinal directions on here. This is the second piece. It is the main sundial part. You can see it has numbers going around the side. These are the hours, or rather, they correspond to the red lines which correspond to the hours. This red line is both midnight and noon, 0 and 12. This one is 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, both in the morning. This one is 15 o'clock, or 3 o'clock p.m., and 21 o'clock, or 9 o'clock p.m. 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock at night, or 18 o'clock, both get their own little hours to themselves. And you can tell which one's closer to noon because the shadow will be closer to the gnomon. That's this middle part. The blue lines represent latitude. The one that passes through the middle is the equator. This one is 45 degrees south, I believe, and this one's 45 degrees north. The others represent 23.5 degrees and 67.5 degrees. These represent the boundaries of Earth's tropics and polar regions, respectively. This third piece that looks kind of like a weird figure 8 is the analemma tool, and I will talk about it later. Now here, you can see that this piece has ridges in the top. And this has little bumps. The bumps sit in the ridges. The ridges allow you to adjust for your declination. Declination is a problem in which your true north will differ from your magnetic north by some amount. You can set your declination to the nearest 1/48th of a turn with this. Here is a picture I used. Actually, I drew this myself to plan this out. You can see how things are lined up on the Earth, and this is the sun, which is not to scale. Here, you can see an actual size drawing of the portable sundial. It maps the sky into the inner hemisphere section. The point at the base of the gnomon is the zenith, and all around here is the horizon. The next thing you need to know about are ecliptics. I went ahead and looked this up, and I was able to trace out different ecliptics for different places. An ecliptic is the path that the sun travels in your sky throughout the course of one day. The different colors represent different latitudes, going from very far north to very far south. And by the way, on this map, this is north and that is south, because these are shadows. Now, as far as the dark to light colors, as you can see, the dark represents how the ecliptic looks at the December solstice, the light represents how it looks at the June solstice, and the medium represents how it is at the equinoxes. Notice how for all latitudes, the ecliptics at the equinox start and end at the same place. Here's the next thing for you to look at. Again, I had to look this up, and these are analemmas. An analemma is the path that the sun takes at your location if you snap a picture at the same time every day and then string out all those pictures together throughout a year. And yes, it is that figure 8 shape I was showing you earlier. The different colors here represent the different hours. And the different latitudes are shown with varying brightness. Some of the colors had to be reused, but you can see how they are on here. Everywhere on the picture, the analemmas seem to be this figure 8 shape or some squashed version of it. June is at the top, December is at the bottom. The equinox is indicated by some notches that I made into the bottom. That's designed into the print. And then there's this crossing over point too. By the way, this is all done without daylight savings time in effect. And now I will demonstrate the portable sundial in this bucket of water. I will not do it in actual sunlight because that would allow you to discern my location through both the amount of declination I used and the length of the shadow. Let's plop it in, and it will align itself so that it is facing north. This will take a few seconds. And in the meantime, you will notice that I have turned the lights out in the room. Let me get this away from the wall real quick. I'll be using a flashlight to simulate the sun. And you can see that as I move my flashlight, the shadow changes. It'll keep getting settled. And there we go. It is correctly aligned like a compass. It will just wiggle back and forth a little continually, but it's decently good. And now this is the bottom shelf, where we will look at failed prototypes of the portable sundial. Let me get those out. This is the first prototype of the portable sundial. I wanted to test whether a conventional flat sundial or a hemispherical one would work better. To me, the hemispherical one seemed to have the hours follow a more predictable pattern with less distortion. But then again, I wasn't very precise at marking them with the marker. By the way, this is also the chance for me to test whether I could mark on my 3D prints. I use PLA, which is short for polylactic acid, a type of starch, and I found that Sharpie permanent markers did a fairly good job of marking, though they bled a little. This is the second prototype. It is a scaled-up version of the hemispherical one you saw earlier, so I could see more detail. This is a third prototype. As you will notice, there is a printing defect. My old 3D printer had trouble with some small details, and also just a little more trouble in general printing. This is the fourth prototype. I added the rest of the lines and all the numbers, but sadly the numbers popped off. This is the fifth prototype. I added these pegs on the side, and it was almost fully ready. This is the sixth and final prototype, which you saw earlier. I have only done a little testing with it, though it seems to be at least decently accurate, within the hour. Now, as I mentioned, this is made of polylactic acid, and one thing about polylactic acid is that, being a starch, it is also biodegradable. The previous one, yes, there is a previous one of these, biodegraded some, sprung a leak, and now is no longer functional. So I had to reprint this. Now, in some ways this is a final prototype, but let's go back to that first one again. One thing I like about it is the size. It's somewhat extra portable. Oops. You can wear it as a watch in a way, if I were to design it better. I think that would be a really neat thing to do. And here's another thing. I have this little toy with a fake ladybug inside. And if you roll it along, it will stay so that the ladybug is face up. I think it would work something like that. But anyway, that is it for the portable sundial.